Jeremy Corbyn is getting a lot of shit in the press because he said something bold, I would argue. So here, let me play it for you.
For those people who are homeless on the streets of Camden and elsewhere tonight, what would a Labour government do?
Immediately purchase 8,000 properties across the country to give immediate housing to those people that are currently homeless, and at the same time require local authorities to build far more.
So he's saying build houses for homeless people. We're going to make that official government policy. We're going to purchase thousands of properties, and then we're going to give them to homeless people. So this is leading people to go, oh, you radical. There were headlines in the Telegraph and elsewhere that were like, kind of scoffing a little bit, like Jeremy Corbyn and Labour want to give homeless people a house. Pie in the sky, unicorn, fairy dust. You know how this is. Well, this is what we went through with Bernie Sanders in this country, by the way. Hey, everybody should have health care. Oh, Bernie. What a child. Obviously, you let the establishment continue to screw people forever. So why don't we take a look to see what kind of research there is backing up Jeremy Corbyn? Oh, well, that's interesting. This is a study by the Central Florida Commission on Homelessness. Leaving a homeless person on the streets costs $31,000. Giving them housing costs $10,000. So you save over $20,000 by giving homeless people a roof over their heads. So not only is it the right thing to do from a moral perspective, it's also the right thing to do from an economic and a fiscal perspective. So in other words, there's no rational reason to be against it. You could say, hey, I just don't like homeless people. I have vengeance and I want to do retribution or revenge against them because, I don't know, maybe in some people's minds they think these people are unwilling and undeserving and they're lazy moochers in society. So they feel like, no, on principle, I want you to suffer. You could take that position, but just be honest with yourself and admit, I'm not being rational. I'm not being logical. I don't care about the studies on it. I don't care that the moral thing to do is to not have people on the streets, starving, potentially dying. You'd have to disregard the moral angle to it, which I think those people would have no problem doing. They don't care about that shit. But you'd also have to disregard the fiscal angle here, which they should care about. To let taxpayers know, oh, you will actually save money if we put a roof over their head. That, what are taxpayers going to say? Yeah, okay, put a roof over their head. It saves me money. Why the fuck not? Because when they're on the street, what happens is they end up going in and out of prison, in and out of jail, in and out of the hospital, and the taxpayer has to foot a larger bill than if you just put a roof over their head, and then they can get their life together that way. So the only area where I understand the more conservative position on this is I would argue, yes, give them a house, give them a roof over their head, whatever it may be, give them it for sure. But just don't make the thing that you're giving somebody more luxurious than the thing that somebody's paying for. Because then I get pissed too. Because then I'm like, no, that person's going to work and busting their ass, and they have less amenities than the person who's not. Like, I don't want them getting a roof over their head and a fucking jacuzzi and a swimming pool and a steam room and, a 4-bedroom house. Like, no, we all know what we're talking about here. A 1-room thing, 2-room thing, bare bones kind of situation. But I am in favor of them getting a roof over their head and them getting somewhere to live. I am. And I think that that's the correct position morally, and that's the correct position fiscally. And anybody who would argue against it is simply wrong. And, Jeremy Corbyn's right. He's right about this. And the fact that what he said is considered outrageous doesn't say a lot about Jeremy Corbyn. It says a lot about his detractors.